All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott coming at you with JavaScript, courtesy of Murox JavaScript 2nd edition. We are in Chapter 8 of Section 2, How to Code Control Statements. Use if statements, including those with else and else ifs in your apps. Use switch statements, which we haven't looked at. Use while, do while, and for loops, which I've shown you before. And use the and, or operators to select values. Describe type coercion and distinguish between equality and identity. Describe the relational operators, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. There's also equal to and not equal to. Describe the logical operators. There are 3, not, and or. Explain how to use the conditional operator instead of an if. Explain how to use short circuit. Describe what a break statement does. Distinguish between a while and a do while. Describe how to control the iteration of a for statement. All right, so let's write some code. We haven't done that for a bit, so grab an example that I did earlier. I would rather grab something, I think, from Chapter 2. All right, so I'll grab that odd and even program that we did a long time ago, just to show you some of the stuff that's in here. Put that in. And I'll tell you what, we'll call this control statements. And since we're calling that control statements, we'll also come in here and we'll call this control statements. So let's open these. All right, this one has to just be changed to control statements. So that fixes that. And of course up here, all right, so that fixes the whole HTML file. So let's look at this. In fact, we could use this, and I could modify it. Let's just start with something new. All right, so let's start with a variable. We'll call it age. Var age equal 18. And let's assume that if your age is greater than or equal to 18, not 10, 18, we will do a document.write, congrats, you can vote. All right. Otherwise, so let's just leave it like that. Okay. So let's go and run this program. Congrats, you can vote. Why? Because you're 18. And the check said if you're greater than or equal to 18. Well, what if we send it to 17? All right. And we run the program again. We get no output whatsoever, nothing. You might say, well, why does that happen? Because we told it, didn't tell it to do anything. Okay, if we come down here and say else, and we come in here and add sorry, too young to vote. All right. Now if we run this again, sorry, too young to vote. All right. Well, let's take this a little further and let's assume, so I'm going to put a few ages in here. We'll say var kids equal 10, var adult equal 18, var senior equal 60. We'll just put it like that. Okay? So if your age, and we'll come in here, let's ask the person their age. How's that? We'll say var age equal prompt prompt, hopefully you remember that before. In fact, we want to parse int our prompt. Parse int prompt, is your age? And we'll assume that the person coming is 21. So if we don't put a value in there, that's what we have. All right? Now, I could make all of these constants, and that probably would have been a better way to do this. So const, so kids would have been in uppercase. Not cuds, kids. All right, so now I've got a value. And we'll say if is not a number, so if you put something non-numeric in there for age, so if it's not a number, age, we'll just set your age. Then we'll just say age is equal to 21. We'll just do it like that. All right? Now we can come in here and say if your age is less than or equal to kids, we'll do a document.write. You pay the kids price. All right. Else, if the age is less than or equal to adult, we'll do that document.write again. That's the last presentation that I just did. So if that's the case, you come in here and you say you pay the adult price. We don't care what the price is right now. Else, because that's all that's left, a document.write where we're going to say you pay the senior price. All right, so look at this. We're coming in here and we're saying there's 3 prices that are set. So kids, this is the age. So anything, okay, and let's say that, if the age is here, what we can say, if it's not a number, we'll set it to 21. So if it's not a number, or age is less than, so let's say that if you're less than 3, I don't want to say that. I'm trying to handle something that's out of range. So let's say if you're less than 1, all right? Or I'm going to assume that no one is more than 130. Okay? So is NaN age, or this, boom. All right? So now notice this will all be predicated on what we put in here for our age. Let's put this whole thing into a while loop so we can continue. So I'm going to say here var again, and I'm going to set that equal to y, which means yes, I want to do it again. So while again equal that y, and we'll say while again dot to uppercase. So if I happen to put it in lowercase, it'll convert it to uppercase. All right, so that'll let us go in here. I'm going to just say var age here. And I'm going to say var age, and I'm going to set it equal to 1. Okay, this way I can come in here and just say age. I don't have to be recreating the variable every time. That's what var does, is it actually is going to come in and create the variable all over again, which is kind of just a waste of time. All right, now I should be able to, okay, that should handle everything. But now when I get down to the bottom, I'll come down here and I'll say prompt, run, program again, and we'll assume you do want to run it again, so we'll set it to Y. All right, and we're going to say again equals that, and all we care about is that first character in again. So if again dot char at, 0, which means show me the first character. So if that first character is equal, and we can take that, we can say dot to uppercase. And once we do that, if that's equal to a Y, we even have to check it. We don't even have to do an if in there. Okay? Let's just run this and see what happens. All right. Again, I could have errors in here. I didn't try to put them in. Okay, it looks like I have an error. So let's go and take a look at it and debug it. First thing I'm checking here is my parens, and I can already see that that's wrong. Should have been 1 there, and there wasn't. All right. That looks okay, looks okay, 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 okay. That's okay, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. Far as I can tell, Oh, I have to end my while loop. That would have made it blow up also. So now let's try to run it again. What's your age? 21. You pay the senior price. You want to run it again? Yes. No, well, that's wrong because you don't pay the senior price. So we already have an error. So how about 210? Well, that'll set it to 21 again. You pay the senior price, which is still wrong. Let's run it one more time, and we'll put in 2. And do I want to run it again? No. How about for 2? You pay the kid's price. That's good. Now let's see what the error was. If your age is less than or equal to adult, oh, that was 18. So really that's wrong. You pay the kid's price, but if you're less than, while you're less than a senior, less than senior, all right? And let's put BR tags in front of all these. BR plus age, BR tag plus age plus you pay the kid's price. Okay, so I want to do that in front of all these. You pay the adult price, you pay the senior price. Hopefully that's put in there, and I'm looking very quickly, and it looks like it's syntactically correct. All right, so let's run this again. All right, 21, you pay the adult price, correct. You want to run it again? Yes. 13, well, you still pay the adult price, the way that it's set up. All right. 9, oops, they asked me if I wanted to do it again. That was my fault. So, 9, kid's price. Do it again. 66, senior price. Looks good. 45, 46. Try one more time. Let's do a kid. Let's do an adult. I've got to stop doing that. Let's do a kid. Let's do an adult. And let's do a senior. All right. And I should also check my ranges. So I said a kid was up to age 10. So yes, I want to do this again. So 10, still a kid. Yes, I want to do it again. How about 11? Well, that's the adult. That was the cutoff price. All right, so senior was 60, so 59. 59 should still be an adult, but 60 should be a senior. All right. If I put in a negative number, I think it just defaults to 21, and it says you pay the adult price. And if I put in a really huge number, it again just defaults to 21. I don't want to run it again. You've seen it now. All right, so what did I show you there? An if with an else if and an else. All right, again, I've said this to you several times before. The way you learn this stuff is to just start writing programs. 2 equals means equality, check for equality. An exclamation point with an equal sign, sometimes called bat equals or bang equals, checks for inequality. Here's some unusual results you can get with the equality operator. These are just things that you should be aware of. There's also an identity operator. All right, and I want to show you this. I think it pays to take a minute to go over this. And that is, if I come in here, and I'm going to create 2 more variables in here just so you see them. All right, in fact, I don't need this anymore, but I want to keep it, so I'm just going to comment it out. So I'm going to comment all of this out that we've done so far. All right, and that'll go down, I'll push that down to the bottom. So I'm going to have a new variable in here that I'm going to call, I'll put age in again, var age equals, and I'm just going to set it equal to 7. All right, and I'm going to say var age 2, let's just call them age 1 and age 2, and that's equal to 7. Okay, and then I'm going to say if age 1 equal age 2, document.write the ages are the same. Else document.write the ages are different. All right, and you may have already guessed or may not have already guessed, but it's going to say that they're the same. Okay, now technically, just so you know this, technically, no, they are not the same. This is a string. Strings have a numeric value of 0. So really you're comparing 7 with 0. But what JavaScript does with comparing like this is it says, oh, you know what? For an equal test, the ages are the same. For an equal test, the ages are different. All right, now I'm going to grab all of this code, copy it to the clipboard, and I'm going to paste it back in. Well, why would I do that? I'm going to put 3 equal signs in here, which means not only compare the value, but the type of variable. All right, so with triple equals, let's run this and see what we get for a result. For an equal test, the ages are the same. For a triple equals, the ages are different. And as always, I should have come back here and put in a BR tag here and a BR tag here. All right, so you know now, in the first case, we're comparing and just checking for what's inside. In the second case, we're comparing what's inside and the variable type. So again, when we run this second one, for a double equals, they're the same. For a triple equals, the ages are different. So the triple equal is called the identity operator. Not only is there a triple equal, there's an exclamation point with an equal also. So you're aware of that. All right, equality operators, type coercion, and identity operators. The equality operators perform type coercion, and that converts data from one type to another, like string with numbers. You already saw that. The identity operators, the triple equals, do not perform the type conversion. That's why it came back and said they weren't the same. All right. Next, they go through less than or equal to. I just showed you this stuff. All right, with that movie thing. Now, I just showed you the less than and the less than or equal to type of thing, but the other ones work the same. You can not only compare numbers, but if you want to, you can compare strings. When you use the relational operators, operands are converted to numbers, except when both are strings. When one of the operators is NaN, the result's always going to be false. When both operators are strings, they're compared character by character. It's actually called a lexicographical comparison. And if one string is shorter than the other but contains the same characters at the start, the shorter string will become the smaller of the two. All right, we have logical operators right here. And this is the order in which they are performed. You do nots, then you do ands, and then you do ors. If you don't want to do them in that order, you use parentheses. And for and and or, JavaScript uses short circuiting. If you don't know what that means, I'm going to show it to you right now. So let's go back to the program that we just had. Now I'm going to comment out this triple equals, this stuff. Whoopsie. I'm going to comment that out, and I'm going to bring back my movie stuff. All right? You saw all this stuff in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to check the age like we just did. If it's less than this, otherwise if it's less than this. All right? But now we're going to come in here and we're going to say, else if the age is greater than kids and the age, let's put another thing in here, we'll call this legal. And we'll set that equal to 18. All right, no, that's what we said adult equal to. So we'll leave it like it was. All right, I won't use legal. So we're saying now if you're greater than 10, but you're less than 18, which is what this is saying. Document.write, put in our BR tag again, and say plus age plus not an adult, but pay adult price. So let's check that. So that's for people who are greater than 10, so they're between 11 and 17, if I coded that correctly. And I didn't. Looks like we need one more there. Or do we? These two go together. And if age, whoops, that's wrong. And age is less than legal. Need that. Okay. Now I don't need that. Now it should be correct. We'll check. Still doesn't like something. Age is less than kids. Do this. Notice I left a bunch of semicolons off of here, which is really bad practice. All right. If it's less than kids, that. Otherwise, if it's greater than kids, and I don't know what that less than sign is doing there, and it's less than legal. So this right here, I'm going to put comments in here, which is what I should have been doing from the front. Validation. All right. This should be for less than or equal to 10. This, if I did it right, should be 11 through 17. This so now we're replacing this, you pay the adult price. We have a legal. That's the problem. That should be adult. So we don't need this one anymore. No, that's not true. Else, if it's greater than kids and less than adult, else if age is greater than adult and age is less than senior. Okay, let's put some more parens in here. I'm the paren man, so I tend to over parenthesize. All right, so this should handle ages 18 through 59, and this last one should handle ages 60 and above. All right, so hopefully I put that in there and fixed all the errors that I had, but I'm going to try it anyway. That's a good start. 21, adult. Run it again. Yes. Let's try 15. Not an adult, but pay adult price. That's correct. Yes. Let's try all of them. So that would be 11, 12, 13, 14. I already did 15, 16, and 17. If I go back down to 9, or to 10 rather, that should be kids' price, and it is. If I go up to 18, that should be adult price, and it is. Oh, 18 is senior price, so there's a wrong check in there. Run the program again? No, so we have to just check that one for 18. So this said, if you're greater than adult, which was 18, and, oh, that it says you pay the adult price. 18 should have said you pay the adult price. So if your age is greater than adult, meaning it's greater than 18, so that should be greater than or equal to adult, and you're less than, I think that's why I got that error, because I wasn't handling 18. So now this should say, if I put an 18 in here, it should say pay the adult price. Good. And if I do put in here, what was the breakup? 59, pay the adult price, yes. But if I put in 60, it should go to senior. And if I put in anything after that, it should go to senior. All right, we could put more checks in here that said basically if you were less than 3, the price is 0. That might have been cleaner than the way I did it, doing this stuff. I did the is not a number. All right, so if we said if it's not a number, we just set it to 21. But we could have come in there and said, we've got a policy that else if you're less than, let's say, 4, or you're greater than 130, then congratulations, for still being on this earth, in all seriousness. We need one more here. And if that's the case, we're going to say that we're going to do a document.write and give your age and say you paid nothing. All right, so I have to try it with a few values. In fact, let's say that if you're greater than 100, there you go, you pay nothing. Less than 4 or greater than 100. As always, I should always go back, write a little code, run it, write a little more code, and run it. So there's an error. Again, it's typically a parens error, but I'm going to double check. If your age is less than 4, or your age is greater than 100, that all looks okay. Oh, here you go. If age is not a number, we set it to 21. That should be what the error was. Non-numeric input. kids less than 4 or adults greater than, we'll put greater than or equal to 100, are get in free. All right. Kids less than or equal to 10 pay kids price. Anyone 11 to 17, they pay the adult price, but we're telling them you're not an adult. Anyone here, as you know, will pay the adult price. Finally, if you're 60 or above, and now it's really anyone 60 till 99 pay senior price. All right, it always helps to put documentation in and to put the documentation in when you're writing the program. Don't come back and say, I'll do it later. No, you do it now when it's in your mind. All right, so if somebody is less than 4, 3 you pay nothing, and you've got also, you pay kids price. Well, that's got to be fixed. So let's fix that first. So, if you're less than or equal to 4 or greater than or equal to 100, all right, boom. So this is going to have to be an else if here, not an if. There we go. That'll fix that. So let's run this again, and we'll put in 3-year-old. Now it only says you pay nothing. Yes, and if you're 100 or above, again, you pay nothing. But if you're 99, you have to pay the senior price. And if you're 5 or above, you have to pay the kids price. But if you're 4, I think we said, yep, so over 3, you pay the kids price. All right, that's pretty much worked that program to death, I think. All right. But ideally, at least, I've gone over a lot of the stuff that's in the chapter with you. All right, so we went over the not, the and rather, and we could have done an or. This is the precedence. So if you have a very complex expression that's got not and or in it, you do the not first, then you do the and, then you do the or. And if you want to change that, you use parentheses to override it. So here's the level of precedence for the operators that we have discussed. Right, it's shown on page 235 in the book. Again, you can always use parentheses to clarify the sequence of operations. And Java uses short circuiting. All right, and well, let's just come in here and we'll show an example of that. I don't want to write any more code like this, but I'm just going to write something here. So I'm going to say, for example, this. Let's suppose that I'm going to throw a party, and in order for you to go to the party, you have to be in the IT web software developer program, and you have to be greater than 18. So I'm going to say var, in fact, I'll make it a constant. Const, I'm going to call min age, and I'm going to set that equal to 18. And then I'm going to have a const, and I'm going to call it program, or prog, and that's going to be equal to the IT web software developer. All right? So I'm going to put ... here, meaning I can have some more code. But if I come through here and say if age greater than or equal to min age and program, so I'm supposing I've got a variable in here called age, or again, I might go and set it in here someplace in another variable that's called PGM. So again, there'll be some more code here where I might set something. Don't worry about this. This isn't that important. But I'm saying if your age is greater than or equal to 18 and your program is equal to prog, that means you can go to the party, right? Because that means you're over 18 or over, and you've got the right program. So if that's the case, I would do a document.write. You can go to the party. Otherwise, so I'm going to put an else in here. Else, you cannot go to the party. All right, does this make sense? So I'm saying if the age is greater than 18 and the program is equal to this. So both of those criteria have to be met. So in other words, if I come in there and I say that my age is 59 and I say my program is IT network specialist, I can't go to the party. Or if I say that my age is 17 and my program is IT web software developer. All right? Well, let's say I do that and I'm going to have the party and I did RSVPs and guess what? Virtually no one's coming. Okay? I've got a couple people that meet the criteria, but a lot of other people would like to come. Okay? So I changed this and to an or. Now you can come to the party if you're greater than 18 or if your program is IT web software developer or both. Now, the way that this works is when you use ors like this and with the and, but it does short circuiting. What I mean is it checks. Let's say that I said my age was 19. There's really no sense with an or right here. I don't have to check the program because I said as long as your age is greater than 18 or, so I don't have to check that or. If I change this back to an and somebody puts in there that their age is, for their age, if they put in there it's 16. Well, both of these have to be true. Since their age is not greater than or equal to 18, I don't have to check this. That's short circuiting. So the JavaScript engine only does the work that it has to do in order to figure out. All right. So if the first operand, the first part before the and or the or, is enough to determine the value of the second expression, it just ignores the second one. Okay, hopefully that made some sense. Now it's important that you use braces. You can do something like this. All right, go back to the one we were just looking at. I'm going to put some space in here. So it is totally legit to say this, var age equal 21. Then to say if age greater than or equal to 18, I can put in here document.write. You can vote. And of course, that's going to say you can vote. The point is, I don't need to put in curly braces. But if I put another thing in here that says document.write, and I put in here your age is, and I put, for example, plus age. All right? Well, they're 21, so it's going to say you can vote, and it's going to say your age is 21. But if I put my age in here as 14, since I don't have curly braces, it only does the first line. Okay? I don't have curly braces, so if this isn't true. So it's not going to say you can vote, but it's still going to say this. If I want both of these statements to run, if the age is greater than or 18, I must use curly braces. That's the bottom line. So if you have only one statement, you don't need to put them, but it's considered good practice to put them anyway. All right? Now I'm going to write you a very small little program, and I'm going to go back to our actual code that's here. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to comment all this stuff out that we've been working with the movie stuff. All right? And I'm going to write a program that's actually going to be fairly small. And I'll come back up to the top again. I'm going to say var seconds equal 0. Var minutes equals 0. Var hours. So I've got hours, minutes, and seconds. And I'm setting all of them to 0. Okay? Then I'm going to actually, if you remember loops from back for a while, I'm going to have my hours for var h for hours equals 0. And while h is less than or equal to 23, I'm going to use military time here, h plus plus. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say for minutes equals 0, minutes less than or equal to 59, and I could make constants for those, but I'm not, plus plus, okay? Then I'm going to come in and write one more for loop that says for s, for seconds, and these should all say var, and they don't. And that one should say var s equals 0, s less than or equal to 59, s plus plus. All right? What I'm building for you is kind of the world's smallest clock. So I'm going to say document dot write, and I want the hour followed by the minute followed by the second. The output's going to be a little ugly, but I want you to see this. All right? Hopefully I wrote it correctly. If I didn't, I might be into an infinite loop, but let's look. Doesn't like something. All right, let's go back and see if we can fix it. Document.write. H, yeah, it's H plus a colon plus M plus a colon, that's why this isn't working, plus S. That should fix it. I think I've got it in there correctly now, aesthetically. Okay, it still doesn't like something. Let me close these because I got tons of these open right now. I actually don't need either of these either, so I'm just going to rerun it. All right. Hours 0 to 23, okay. Minutes 0 to 59, okay. Seconds 0, yeah. Huh, trying to figure out why that wouldn't work. Document.write, hours plus colon plus minutes plus colon plus second plus our old BR tag. I don't know if that's going to matter or not, but this actually looks like it should. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want S. So this, I actually don't need hours or minutes or seconds here. But I can change my H's to hours, which will make it a little bit more descriptive. Since I'm defining them in there, I don't need them here anymore. Still trying to figure out why that wouldn't have worked to begin with. Hours, 0, less than or equal to 23, good. Minutes, 0, less than or equal to 59, correct. And that's got to be minutes. Seconds, 0, less than or equal to 59, then write the hours, write the minutes, write the seconds, and write a line break. Still looking for something in there that looks incorrect. Oh, I commented out my ending curly brace there. So it was never hitting that. So I think that's what it needed. So let's check. There it is. There's my clock. Could be formatted a lot nicer. But ideally what you see in that is literally with what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 statements. I wrote a whole clock. All right? I like that at least. Okay. I'm going to comment that out. I'm going to do one more thing here. Okay. And that's still uncommented. Good. All right, I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm going to say var size equals double quote, double quote. Okay, in fact, let's not even do a var. Well, var size equal prompt. What is your size? And we'll default it to a medium. Okay? And we're going to suppose here that the person can put in large, medium, extra large, small, etc. So I'm going to take that size and I'm going to say it equals size dot to uppercase. So if I put in medium like this, it would make it medium and uppercase. All right, then I'm going to use, I could use ifs here, but I'm going to use something instead called a switch. I'm going to do a switch on the size. And I'll put in here case, small, document dot write. You take a small break. All right, this is going to take up a little bit of room here, so I'm going to hit small, that'll be small, that'll be medium, that'll be large, and that'll be extra large. All right, so medium, you take a medium, large, you take a large, and we'll call it X large, you take an extra large. What if they put something in that's not in this list? Then I put in what's called a default case. And I put in size unknown. Before we talk about this, which we'll do, all right, let's put a BR tag after each one of these. Yeah, we won't need it. I'm just going to have to keep running the program. That'll be fine. All right, so, all right, that should give me everything, I think. We'll find out. All right, what is your size? Medium? You take a medium. Okay. Large? You take a large. Good. Small? You take a small. X large, you take an extra large. It seems to be working. If I put in an invalid value, how about extra small? Size unknown. Okay? Now, what I want to show you, though, with this is like an if, but a lot of people find it, since it's more compact, they find it easier to use. It's called a switch statement. And it's done by evaluating this value that's right here. This value can be numeric or it can be a string. All right? So for instance, when it says, what is your size? What I could have said was this. How about this? Are you a small, a medium, a large, or an extra large? All right, and we defaulted to medium. Then we come in here and change this to S, this to M, this to L, and this to XL. And it's going to work the exact same way. After it evaluates the expression, the switch statement transfers control to the case label that matches. If it doesn't find one, it goes down to the default. So the default's optional and may be omitted, but most of the time you'll want it there. These values can be literal values like I put here, or they can be variables or expressions. If you leave off the word break, just to show you this, in fact, let's run it first to make sure we didn't break anything. No pun intended. All right, so come back here, run the program. Notice now it's asking me for M, etc. So S, you take a small. M, you take a medium. L, you take a large. And now it's XL. You take an extra large. So that all works. For some reason, if I want to do what's called a fall through, I can leave these breaks out. But notice what happens if I do that. All right, you typically don't want to do that. I want to show you why. I'm going to run the program again, and it says, what's your size? I'm going to say S. Notice it runs everything. Because the break tells it, hey, you've reached it, get out. So I want to put that there, and there, and there, and there. You can have a case within a case. All right. Another example of this, and we can just leave this one here. How about this? We'll put in here letter grade. Let's say I'm asking a teacher, what's this person's letter grade? A, B, C, D, or F. And we'll just default it to C. All right? And we'll change that to grade. And we'll change that to grade. All right? And we'll switch on grade. If it's an A, we put superior work. If it's a B, we put above average work. If it's a C, we put average work. If it's a D, we put down below average work. And finally, if it's an F, I'm going to just copy one more of these. We put down failure. And otherwise, we put down grade unknown. All right? So now we have to ask them to input their letter grade. So let's check that out. All right, input your letter grade. A, B, C, D, or F. I forgot my ending paren. C, didn't say anything. Okay? Did I not tell it to do a document.write? Document.write that, that. So let's figure out a couple things here. So that belongs there. And we don't need that, so that'll fix that. Oh, switch on guard instead of grade. If I had used strict there, it might have caught it. I should be using that. All right, enter a grade. C. Still isn't giving me any output. Switch on grade. How about, well, this won't fix that, but grade to uppercase. Okay. So grade. That's got to be grade also. Let's see if that fixes it. C, average work. A, superior work. B, above average work. You should always, especially when you've got a small sample like this, you should always run everything. Below average work. F, failure. And how about that G that I accidentally put in there? Grade unknown. All right. That should pretty much get you what you need to know for a switch statement. Again, we could have used numbers too. So there's a lot of ways that you can write this stuff. And I'm just trying to show you some ways that are pretty simple. Okay? Now, I'm going to take this and I'm going to comment it out as I have been doing. And here. All right. And I'm going to create I'm not even going to use an array. I'm just going to create 5 numbers. So var num1 equals 71. Var num2, how do I want to write this? Let's just say we have 2 numbers, all right? And var num2 equals 108. And I want to write var max equals, for now I'm just going to say it's 0, okay? If num1 is greater than or equal to, how about if it's equal to num2, then I want to say document dot write the values are the same. Really, I should be using equal, equal, equal here, just in case. Okay, so there's that. Else, if num1 is greater than num2, then max is equal to num1. And even though I don't have to write it this way, I'm going to say else if num2 is greater than num1, all right, then I want to say, otherwise, if this is greater, I don't know what the hell that is, but then I want to say is the bigger number. Again, let's put a BR and a BR, and we want to say in this case num1 is the bigger number. Otherwise, we're going to say num2 is the bigger number. Now this should work without any problems. This is pretty simple stuff, but I want to run it anyway to be sure. 108 is a bigger number. That's what we expect. That's good. Okay? Always good to run it and make sure. But if I wanted to, I don't have to write all this stuff. I can say else, okay, just an else, and I can say here, I'm going to just remove all this stuff. Okay? Num1 max equal num1 greater than num2, question mark, num1, colon, num2. Now that looks a little weird, so let's mention, if the numbers are the same, we're going to print out that they're the same. Otherwise, if number 1 is greater than number 2, and it's not, but if it was, then we take num1 and we assign it to the variable max. Since it's not, we do this, which says take num2 and assign it to the variable max. And I'll say here, document.write and I'll say here, max is the bigger number. Let's see if that works. Just like it did before, it should say 108 is the bigger number, and it does. So this is called the conditional operator, all right? And it's used pretty much like this. So the other way we could have done this, we could have come in here and said, I'm going to comment this out, but I want to show you the other way we could have written this is we could have said if num1 greater than num2, max equals num1, else max equal num2. We could have written it like that, and it would have been just fine to do that. But by using what's called the conditional operator, which is sometimes called the question mark colon operator, it's a little cleaner. All right? just to show you, I'm going to take this line of code where we use that operator, and I'm going to comment it out for right now. Comment that out, and then this that I put in here like this, I'm going to uncomment that. All right? And it should still say 108 is the bigger number. And it does. All right? There are some people who very rarely, if ever, use this operator because they find it confusing to look at. And there's other people that I know that use it quite often. All right? As a programmer, you typically aren't going to have somebody behind you saying, why'd you do this? Why'd you do this? All right? So it's the conditional operator, also known as the question mark colon operator. All right? Okay. Now, a little bit earlier on in the chapter, whoops, I want to go here. So a little bit earlier on in the chapter, there's the conditional, so we already saw that. How to use and or to select values. All right? We talked a little bit about and ors, but I want to say one more thing about and ors. And I'm pretty much going to show you what's on page 243. All right? I already mentioned the short circuiting stuff for you. Okay? But, let's see, is that going to bring us to here? Yes, it will. If you're a full-time student in the program and you're taking courses in the order, a full-time student, and you're taking them in the order you're supposed to, during your first semester, you're going to take a math and logic class. It might be called something else now. But I want to show you this. Not and or. All right? So imagine I'm comparing two things here. I'm comparing X and I'm comparing Y. So I'm doing that here, and I'm doing that here, and I'm doing that here. All right? So, all right. So, we're going to say they can both be, the X or Y and Y can be true or they can be false. So if they're both false, let's put here result. And we'll move that over. And I'm going to recopy these. And recopy this one. And I'm going to recopy that one. All right. So if X is false and Y is false, then the whole thing is false. All right? In fact, for not, it's not even this. It's much easier. So let me copy this down. All right, let's start with not. There's no X and Y with not. There's just X and a result. Remember that not is the negation operator. So it's the opposite. So not false is true, and not true is false. So all that not does is it negates the result. Not married equals single. Not single equal married. Not union equals non-union member. All right. Not, type of thing. All right. But when I do these, I can compare, and I can do an and. And if my first thing is false, my first comparison is false, and my second is false, the whole thing is false. Well, if my first comparison is false and my second is true, the whole thing is still false. If my first is true, but my second is false, again, the whole thing is still false. When I work with an and, everything has to be true. Only if they're both true like this, then the whole thing is true. All right? Now, when I work with an or, it's much more liberal. Let me get this down. In fact, I'm going to move this over. to copy this, but it's going to change. All right? So with or, false, false is false, all the rest of these are true. What I'm showing you right here are what are called truth tables. You're going to learn this because you're fortunate enough. I'm going to remove that just so you can see everything. All right? You're fortunate enough that you have Julie Bellman as the instructor, at least normally, for this class. And she will go over truth tables and a lot more stuff with you. So imagine what we were comparing here is if x equal true, whatever x is, all right? That's the same thing as saying, so that's the same thing as saying if x. Those mean exactly the same thing. If I want to say instead, if x equal false, then that shortcut is if not x. Those are the same thing. All right? That takes care of these. So it's a negation operator. It makes false true and it makes true false. If I say something like, if x is greater than 3 and y is less than 6. I don't know what those are. I don't care. Well, this says if this one right here, if that's false, then the whole thing is going to be false. This says if even if whether the first one's true or false. I'm sorry, if the first one is false, it doesn't matter if the second one is true or false. The whole thing is going to be false. And I don't even have to compare the second one. If the first one is true, but the second one is false, then the whole thing is false. Only when both this is true and this is true is the whole thing true. All right? But if I change this to an or, which is as liberal as you can get, then only if this is false and this one's false, the whole thing is false. But otherwise, if that's false and that's true, or that's true and that's false, or that's true and that's true, then the whole thing is true. Now that was quick, but it's explained in more, probably better detail on pages 242 and 243 in the text. Let me check my time. I'm over an hour, so I'm going to stop now and make this a two-part presentation.